So, quick tutorial of what we're gonna be doing, a quick overview of what we're gonna be showcasing, which is just a billboard effect, which you actually see on the streets a whole lot, and it's pretty simple to make. And let's stop the yapping and just get the effect working. Let go. Okay, so billboard signage. We begin this whole thing by dropping in our famous box, and we're gonna be copying this to. You're gonna use a line to copy this. You can use add points, whichever style you prefer. So in this particular case, we wanna have 10 points, I would say, and for one, we'd want to make them go whatever direction you feel like, and I'm gonna just have a spacing of 9.1 if I because I have 10 boxes over here. And so the idea being that I just have a little bit of a gap in between all the boxes. Cool. Now you can use a transform, or you can just use the size over here, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna just use that, and I would say that a little bit more points wouldn't be bad, so I'm gonna use 15.2 or something. Basically, I just have a little bit of a gap in between, and the idea here being, you got your boxes lined up, and you're gonna have your images on all the four sides, and you pretty much have a billboard that changes images. So I guess I don't know what to begin with. Let's begin by shading this box, so to speak. Now typically, if you've looked through other tutorials, the other tutorial actually show how you can actually group this stuff, and whereas grouping, then adding a color sop to um, paint the stuff with whatever group you created is pretty dandy. Honestly, where's primitive? So let's see, one primitive in group one. So primitive is number, why is it not coloring? Oh, it's coloring white, sorry. So it's coloring blue to the whole primitive, and whereas this should work, honestly it's kind of slow, so honestly I don't even know I showed that. But what we're going to go ahead and do is actually create a new operator type, and it's gonna be called anything that you want. So pretty much I'm gonna call mine shade, and the label is gonna be called shade the box. Okay, it's gonna be a Python type, and it's a geometry operator, and you might want to save it with a different name. So in our case it would be shade box. Current hip file, accept. Okay, I actually need to rename that to shade box because I already have one made up prior. So now I can actually, under digital asset, call this shade the box, which is this particular asset right here. So now it has nothing as of right now, so it really doesn't do anything special, and we're actually working on a single box. So what you actually want to do is actually shade this and group the primitives accordingly, all in one Python sop. So I can right click on this and say type properties, and on the code tab over here, this is actually where we actually get to type the code. Now I'm really not going to type all the code, being that I already have a tutorial that actually covers all of this. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually copy and paste the code, and that's the code as it is. So basically you create a attribute for the color over here. So I already have a tutorial on this prior to this, which is almost similar to this, and this one just basically does everything that needs to be done to the box and creates all the colors. If I hit apply, it does all the shading and all the colors just get put, and I get 4 different groups made up, and now I have 4 different groups and all the colors actually assign their particular values. Now you can actually go ahead, pause the video, and read on the code if you have to. All right, so that for the code. I'm sorry I had to do that, but it's already been done before, so I didn't want to reiterate on that and have everybody wait on that. So to make this whole effect actually work, how we actually gonna go ahead and do this is actually use the attribute transfer, of which I'm gonna go ahead and drop in an add over here, and it's gonna be right here on the middle, and I'm actually go ahead and move it to the left. Oh no, it's actually on the Z, so actually I can go ahead move it back on the Z, and I'm gonna go ahead and drop in a color sop, and I'm gonna paint this red for the point, and as you might guess, for the line sop we're just gonna make it black. I don't even think technically you need to make it any color, but I always shade mine just to view the colors a little bit better. And now we can actually drop in an attribute transfer, and what that does is just from here you can look that that's the attributes to copy to. That's the line, it has a black color, and you're gonna be using the red color from the add sop over here to look at the colors. So right now if you actually look at this, if I actually can go ahead and guides and hide floating, oops, original common normal, you can actually see that the attribute transfer is already transferring the attributes, as you can you can see that, and you can use a blend with, and you can increase this to whatever distance you want. So now we want this to be 0. We don't want any kind of values over here, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is actually push this to the back a little bit more, so that way there's no values in any given way. And this particular value, it's not really going to the very end, and I would actually just like to make sliders that just go back and forth, no problem. So we just cogwheel over here, edit parameter interface, or you can just right click on this and just say edit parameter interface, same thing. And what I'm actually going to do is drop in a float right in between the conditions. You can drop it right inside, and I'm gonna name it anything that you feel like. I can call it roll, or let's just call it double L. Then this one should be called I don't know, spread or something. You just whatever name you feel like, and accept. And now you have this value over here. Now you can actually just copy this parameter and paste it on the distance threshold. So paste copied relative references. And one thing I forgot to do is actually make sure that this has a higher value. So minimum of 0, you can just go ahead lock it, and a maximum of 50 or something big, basically, that can make it go from one end to the other, basically without any stopping. Alright, so we got that part done. So now we can actually go ahead and link this up to this one, and what I'm gonna go ahead and do is disable this, and on the copy sop real quick we can just visualize this, so you can actually see that the red color is still coming through a little bit. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is actually push this a bit more to the back, and now on the attribute spread over here you can actually just increase this, oops, and you can see how the whole attribute spreads on the geometry. Okay, so that's nice and dandy, but now we're gonna have to create some attributes to make the boxes spin on every single axis that we want for each and every single box. So we'll go ahead, drop in a vops up under utility vops up, and we're gonna dwell on the vops up on the next chapter. So hope that wasn't too quick. So we got this shade node and everything set up, so let's go ahead and disable that, and we're gonna go ahead and deal with the vops up. Okay, so getting back into business over here, we're gonna go ahead and dive inside the vops up over here. And I guess what should we do first? We know we got the color attribute, which is the red attribute, which is as we visualized over here, it's the attribute that we're gonna be using to actually go ahead turn this back on. It's the attribute you're gonna be using to um, rotate the boxes. Whenever it has a red attribute, it actually just rotates on the y-axis, so it rotates like so. So we're gonna be getting that value from here. So in this particular case, we need to convert the vector to a float. So under convert, you can do a vector to float, and you're gonna be getting the color, and that's gonna give you the red, green, and blue attributes, or the color RGBs of the points. And what you actually need is the red value, being that the green and the blue are just zero values. Now red over here is from we get the values from right here, spreadsheet. And if you actually look at this, you'll see that some of the values are 1, some of them are in between 1, and some of them actually 0. So the values actually go from 0 to 1. That's the maximum. And you can see the rest actually just 0 for the green and 0 for the blue, so red RGB. So what we need actually is just the 0 to 1 values over here. So diving back in our vops up, we can actually get a fit range. So under our utility, we can get a fit range, and we're gonna fit the range of the 0 to 1 to a 0 to 90. Now the reason for being 90 is that we're gonna be turning the box 90 degrees. If it's one if it fits the criteria for 90 degrees, it's turning 90. But then again, we're gonna make one more and one more, and the idea here is we're gonna be having 3 rotations. We already got the 0 rotation already set as it is, so the second rotation, as you might guess, is 180, and the last one is gonna be 270. So we got 3 rotations as it is. And now what you actually need to work with that, what you we'll do with that is actually use a switch. And for the switch, you can actually just go ahead and all I did was just select all of those at the same time and just plug it in. What I'm gonna go ahead and do over here is actually create a parameter, and what I'm actually call this is switch. Well, I really don't have to change nothing for real. So if I go back up over here, I have numbers basically, and what I'd actually do over here is actually change the numbers to 4, being that I only have 4 rotations, so to speak. So now I can actually just go, oh, why didn't it change? But integer range is 0 to 4. I don't know, I didn't change, but that's the idea basically. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do with this is actually just go ahead add an attribute, and the attribute that we're gonna be adding in this particular case is actually called anything that you want. So we can call it rotate, as always. Just make it simple. Kiss, they say, keep it too stupid simple, something like that. So now we got our rotation values in between spreadsheets. So we got 9, whatever for any of the boxes right now which are red would actually have a 90-degree rotation, and in between that have the rotation angles in between that. So kind of cool. But if you have 2, okay, spreadsheet, you realize we have a 270-degree rotation, so it has 3 90-degree rotations, and here you have a 1, you have a 180. So basically the rotate values kind of change in between, so it's working to our advantage, so to speak. I'm going to turn this on and turn this off one more time so we can have our original colors one more time. So that's nice and dandy. So what's the next step? I guess the next step would be trying to get the UV data on this. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is actually drop in a UV project, and I guess gonna initialize this, and it's gonna fit in everything as it's supposed to. I'll just grab select the UV, then click enter while on the viewport. It's gonna show you how it's gonna project, which is that way, and I guess that's perfectly okay. So well, right after that, we can actually just go ahead and drop in our material. Now I have no shaders created yet, so let me go ahead and save the file while I'm at it. I'm gonna go ahead and drop in a shop net. So mine is just shop network, and I really don't have to rename it. I'm gonna just go ahead and drop in decal. Decal used to be there a long time ago, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and call it billboard sign 1, and I'm gonna go ahead and select my images. So they should be under images, billboard, and that's the image. And I'm going to copy this, paste it 3 times, 4 times. Well, actually I don't even have a 4th image, but I'm gonna go ahead and use the mandrel pick if I can find it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the bottom. No, let's do the mandrel. I like the mandrel pick. Just the man. Or we can do the Houdini splash pick. Cool. And why did I go back up? Okay. So I got all the signs, I believe. So now we can actually go ahead and assign the materials. So I'm gonna select the material over here, and I'm gonna add 3 of them. And on the first group, the blue, I must just select any material, which is billboard 1. And if you actually look, well, blue is not there, but we'll just go ahead, select all the colors, then select the materials for them. And that is good, but I think we have a problem with that. It's showing the green, and the UVs need to be reprojected, I believe. Scale negative. So I just rescale the UVs on the negative axis over here. I guess if I do initialize to best plane, I guess it kind of messes up. So I just add a negative value over here under the scale, and that puts it on the correct thing. So I'm gonna go ahead to the 3rd one over here, and I'm gonna drop in the red, and 4th one, which is the last one, yellow, and I'm gonna drop in the billboard material. So now if you actually look, we all got all the materials set up, and why is that the UVs actually flipped? Well, actually I'll have to look at the final product, and the red did not actually or it probably did, but some things. Okay, so right now we're having a problem that the colors actually multiplying with the previous colors, because that's actually the previous. If you actually look, those are actually the previous colors that you're actually looking at. So what you'd actually do is either delete the color attribute with an attribute, or you can just leave it there but multiply the colors by white. So we can just drop in a color, and oops, now you can actually see that this is a billboard that's kind of popular. If you go around the streets, your wife is hot, better get the AC fixed. So basically, you know, she's sweating and stuff, she ain't that hot on that. And I guess all the data went in accordingly. So I guess that would be the final part of the thing. So now you actually just drop in a null, and the null would be to actually say finally I made this effect, which is something I've been wanting to do for quite a while, but I was never able to till I just sat down and like everything just fell into place. So now you might, okay, so where's the effect? Basically the effect lies on the attribute transfer over here. So oh my goodness, what did I do wrong? You're supposed to make the rotation rotate, and well, I guess I haven't done that. Okay, so we got rotate values over here, which we actually exported. So I actually haven't finished the tutorial. For some reason I actually thought that I did. So what you need to do is actually stamp the values but we don't want to stamp well, I guess you can. because it's deleting the colors down the way anyway. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is stamp the values, and what you want to stamp is the rotate. So in our case, we'd actually say rotate, and we'd actually use a point expression over here. Vops up one, and it's gonna be using every single point, and string attribute would be rotate, same way you got it spelled out on the thing, and 0 would be the thing over here. Now actually I don't even really think you need to do any of this, but I'll leave it off right now, see what happens. I'll leave it off for right now. And now we can actually go ahead and drop in a transform over here. Now for the transform, if you actually look at this, on the y-axis is what we want to rotate. So if you actually do rotate this, you actually see that you get all different images, and actually the UV is actually correct, so you get the various images that you actually need. So what we need to do is actually stamp the effect, which in our case would be the copy one, and the value or the token is actually rotate, and 0 be the default. And now you actually see that it goes back to the original, which is the 0 0 thingy. And I think I'm gonna try to put everything in one container, so to speak. So I'm gonna go ahead, edit parameter interface, and I'm gonna add an integer, and the degree level is gonna be called the degree level, and the second one is gonna be a float, and it's gonna be called rots sign. Okay, so you're gonna apply this and accept. So I'm gonna go ahead, copy this. Actually, for one, I forgot to do something again. I'm gonna go ahead and change this to 50. So I'm gonna go ahead, put that as a 50, and this one I'm gonna go ahead and change it to 4, and I'm actually lock both of those and I say accept. Now go ahead and delete this, I don't need that. Actually, so for one, I don't need this, so I can actually go ahead and delete that and accept. So this is going to remain as a blank. So what I can actually go ahead and do is actually on the degree level, I can copy this, and I can actually go ahead and paste relative references, and I'm gonna go ahead back over here and copy the rotate sign, and on this right here I can actually paste relative references. So that's gonna be 0, and on this one it's gonna be 0, exactly the same way it is over here. So now I can actually rotate the sign, right? As you can see, I can actually rotate the sign. Now I get the first billboard, which is this right here. Now I can actually just put that kind of color tone to it, and now you get this. You know, you can imagine this being a billboard on the street somewhere. You know, you got this billboard on the street, and all you need to do now is actually just animate this effect. So your wife is hot, just changes to that. And well, for one, I think you have to go back to this particular billboard before you go to the next one. So you actually, on the degree level, if I change it to 1, now this time it's actually gonna flip 2 times, so now I get the second image. And if I do on this whatever, I get the third image. So it's kind of a nifty effect, so to speak, and pretty much that's the whole tutorial as it is. I've been wanting to do this for the longest time, you can't believe, and I just got it done. And well, now you have it. Now you know how we did it, and it's pretty simple, you know, ain't a whole lot of stuff done. Once again, I'm sorry that I had to just paste in the block of code for the shading of the boxing and the making of the groups. But once you look at the code, pause the video, pause, look at the code, everything should work out pretty nice. So that's pretty much it for the effect, and I'm pretty much done. And well, hope you. I know I kind of done this already, but I enjoyed this one. So I'm out. See you on the next one for sure. Out.